my hair is poofy. So hi, room biters. I said several times on Twitter that this month is going to be indie chummo, something I started along with Nana Ryder. But you see, it's kind of hard for me to speak in the accent I was speaking in. It's Cockney, so it's like all everything and it already wet, and I can't really do it very good. So instead of doing that, and you just try to guess what I'm saying, I'm just going to do a quick video in another accent. Well, it's supposed not to be doing accents. We're supposed to be doing dialects. But I'm just going to do an accent anyway. It's like a valley girl meets as a gay friend. Yeah. Anyway, what I'm going to do is super lame, but bear with me, I'm kind of rushing through this. The difference, what I'm going to do is the difference between, oh god, I can't sit still. I'm nauseous. The difference between Darwinism, Darwin's theory of evolution through natural selection, and evolution in general. To understand this difference, you have to realize the history, not really realize, it's really a bad word, but you have to understand the history of Darwin, or the history of evolution. My god, what is wrong with me? Darwin was not the first person to come up with, ow! I'm in pain. Darwin was not the first person to come up with evolution, I see it is. He wasn't even the first person to publish any work. And no, I'm not just speaking of his grandfather, what's his name, Darwin. There were other people before him. There were people, I think, back in the 1600s that had the idea of Darwinism, of evolution, but they never published anything. They never really came up with any ideas. Real ideas. That is. They just had blah ideas. And they did, like, give us some stuff that we still use today, even though it's slightly outdated, but blah. Yes, I know, it just blah, and this video sucks, but bear with me. Anyway, Darwin published his On the Origin of Species book in November 24th, 1859, I think? I'm not sure. But anyway, he published it. They were like, oh my god, how could you publish this? This is awful. Well, some of them did. Some of the scientists were like, ooh, this is so good. So he published it. And there was this another guy called Mendel, George Mendel. He was like an Austrian priest or something like that. I'm pretty sure he's Catholic because he got promoted to this thing called abbot, and it's such a weird word. The Catholics are so weird with the weird traditions and words and stuff like that. I can't breathe. Anyway, he published. No, I said that. George Mendel was working on these things. He was working on something called Mendelism, which is basically the basis of genetics, genes and stuff like that. Unfortunately, he was unable to continue his work, which essentially would have outdated Darwin's theory, because Darwin's theory relied on something called pangenesis, which is another one of Darwin's theories, which is really outdated because it had like stuff like Lamarckism in it. Lamarckism basically says if you cut off your arm, your children will be born without arms, so we know this is ridiculous. And there was other stuff in it that was just also ridiculous. And Darwin had holes with heredity and stuff like that. Not being very sporadic, I realize this, but I'm spazzy at the moment, like I was in the last video. Anyway, moving along. Mendelism. His work was lost because the jackass abbot that came after him burnt all his work when he died. I know, the asshole. So, it was lost until in 1900, and 3 guys, I think, were credited with the discovery. One of them turned out to be false. I think the 2 guys that didn't turn out to be false, that understood his ideas, Mendel's ideas, were Verres and someone called Corinnes. And I'm probably pronouncing the names wrong, but oh well. Moving along. They rediscovered it, and Darwin's theory of evolution was basically outdated. It was gone, like that. It was gone. And Darwin's work didn't come back, and it wasn't necessarily Darwin's work, it was stuff related to Darwin's work that was in his idea frame, but not the same thing. it came back, and between the 1930s and the 1940s, some scientists were able to converge Darwinism and mentalism into a theory called modern evolution synthesis. This is the main theory that we still believe in today, even though there are some criticisms and it's been altered a hell of a lot, and we hate it. But there are still some criticisms, and we're still changing it. And there's like Richard Dawkins with his selfish gene theory, which is awesome, by the way. If you have not read his book, The Selfish Genes, and you're into evolution, shame on you. I'll bitch slap you. Moving on. Where was I? Moving on. Rediscovered it. Yes, that. Basically, Darwin's theory was outdated. It's been outdated since the 1900s. Technically, it's been outdated since Actually, it's been outdated since Mendel had his work. He never published it, by the way. He died before he published it, and the jackass burned it. Yeah, so Darwin's theory has been like outdated for like hundreds of years. Anyway, moving along to Spazzy. And this video is probably super long, so bear with me. And I'm probably going to get punished yet again. I'm going to have you published for the last. Punished. Oh my god, what is wrong with my accent? Punished. Sorry, it's just mixing. Punished for my last name, and this is still going on too long. Okay, Darwin stated evolution was his idea. He basically stated that natural selection was the driving force for evolution. He didn't have an idea of heredity, except for the pangenesis thing, which obviously turned out wrong, thanks to Mendel, blah blah blah. His theory was outdated. I'm going to go with the 1900s since Mendel never published his work, but in the 1900s, his theory was outdated. Mendelism took the place of it for some reason, I don't know. And then modern evolutionary synthesis came along, and Darwinism is composed of Darwin's theory of evolution, modern evolutionary synthesis, Richard Dawkins' theory of selfish gene theory, and all the other evolution theories. I really haven't heard a lot. I heard the Gaia theory, the Richard Dawkins one, oh god, not my accent, Darwin's, and blah blah blah. That's the difference between evolution and, not evolution. Okay, Darwinism incorporates ideas of evolution even if they are not related to Darwin's theory. Darwin's theory of evolution was his theory. It was his theory that he published on the origin of species. It does not incorporate other theories like modern evolutionary synthesis, and it does not take into account Mendelism or any of the other mechanisms that drive evolution. Natural selection is not the only one, my tuckies. There's like specialization, gene flow, genetic drift, blah blah blah. And evolution incorporates all these things, and then some, but it does not incorporate the creation of life. The creation of life, or the study of the creation of life, is called abiogenesis. And this is all I can really do. I'm sorry this video is so long. Punish me if you will. I'm sorry this video sucks. I just hope the accent makes it funny somehow, and my spazziness. So with that, I bid you adieu. And what the hell, I'm just going to say this because I've always loved the way this sounds. She's a stupid bitch. Goodbye!